friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a little ink swatching session to find an ink match for my new Kaweco student. I actually unboxed that pen on my channel pretty recently, but if you haven't watched the video, I'll go ahead and link it up above for you to watch. Otherwise, I do have the pen sitting on the pen rest during this video to help me decide as I'm swatching inks what ink I would like to put in this pen. So the last thing I'll mention before going into the inks is that all the ink samples in this video are from Vanness Pen Shop in case you're interested in picking any of them up. So we've got 7 inks to try today. I did stay in the green family. This first ink is from Inkabara. It's called Green Clover. And I'm going to go ahead and read some of the properties that are written on the Vanness Pen Shop listings for the inks. So Inkabara inks are made in the Czech Republic. This is a medium green with medium shading. There is no sheen and there is no shimmer in these inks, and it has low water resistance. So a lot of the inks that I choose are low water resistance because I'm scared of water resistant inks because cleaning pens is already a chore for me, so I'm worried it'll be too hard if I choose like document black or something like that. But anyways, that's the first ink for today. It's a very like true to green color. So let's go ahead and head on to the next ink here. This second ink is from Waringel's World Literature Collection. This color is called Secret Garden. This is a pale green ink with low shading. There is a gold shimmer in here that hopefully I show at the end of the video when everything's dry. There is no sheen either. And again, another low water resistance ink. And Waringel is a Korean brand. I haven't yet tried a Waringel ink in any of my pens, so that's why I wanted to pick up a couple from Waringel. I will say I am very afraid of shimmer inks just because a lot of my pens are like Sailor Medium Fine, Fine, Extra Fine, so they're on the like thinner line widths of nibs, so I'm always scared of like clogging. But I have seen some people who use like shimmer inks, but then they don't shake up the bottle or the vial before they put inks in the pen. So that way it kind of minimizes the amount of glitter and shimmer that you pull up into the feed or the converter. So if I do end up using this ink, I may try that out. This next ink is also from Waringel. It's from the Peter and Wendy collection, and it is the ink called Peter Pan. Oop, that's my toddler sneezing. Background, excuse me. This ink here is more of a mossy olive green ink. There is low shading and no sheen and no shimmer, which is kind of nice to see a Waringel ink with no shimmer because I feel like all the ones I see online are with shimmer. But the shading in this ink is a vibrant orange brown, as described by the brand. So we'll check that out in the close-up at the end once all the inks have dried. And then again, Waringel is a low water resistance ink. So that is this third ink here. I can already see, like, even with the ink being wet, it does have that like orangey brown tone to it. So it's definitely a different type of green. I knew once I laid down the ink that was likely not going to be the ink that I chose for the pen, but I'm still happy to have it because I don't really have a green like this in my sample collection, so just happy to have it. Anyway, all right, this next ink I believe got cut off by my camera, but we do get a little bit of footage of me swatching it. This is from another Korean brand called Dominant Industry. The color of the ink is called Seaweed, and this is a murky green ink with medium shading, no sheen, no shimmer. It's a bit of a dry flow, but the little description on the website says that it resembles dark seaweed surrounding Atlantis. So it's subtle green hues, separates into a weak yellow when dry. So we'll take a look at that later on. All right, the last three inks today are from the same brand called Octopus. This first one is called Green Tiger. And I might put up the volume a little bit, but I do audibly gasp when I put the ink down because it's very wet and saturated. Octopus is a German ink. It's obviously a really wet flow. The ink itself has low shading, no sheen, no shimmer, but is higher in water resistance than the previous inks. Yeah, it's like very wet. You'll see at the end of the video that I couldn't wait for the ink to dry, so it still looks a little wet even at the end of everything. But yeah, I would compare this one to that first ink from Inkibara, Clover. It's a very like green, very pigmented as well. So this next Octopus ink is called Green Ostrich. It is another rich green ink with a wet flow, low shading, no sheen, and no shimmer. I think that's pretty consistent across these Octopus inks. But similar to Green Tiger, it is also high in water resistance and very pigmented. This Green Ostrich leans more towards that olive type green, but not quite. But definitely more of that yellow undertone versus like Green Tiger has more of that like bluish greenish color there. So these were some really fun inks to test out and try. Yeah, I don't try a lot of non-Asian inks. I do love Pilot and Sailor, and obviously I've been loving Lennon Toolbar recently, so that's why I decided to hop over to the Vanness pen shop and try out some of these other brands. All right, and the last ink of the day from Octopus is called Green Eagle. This is yet another waterproof ink with similar properties to the previous inks. Wet flow, no shading, no sheen, no shimmer, and quite pigmented as well. So this is a very vibrant green. I like in my mind, this is like a St. Patrick's Day green. I don't know if that's like accurate to anyone else, but this, yeah, it definitely reminds me of like four-leaf clover, Lucky Charms vibes, but that's not a bad thing. All right, so here's the end result. I did wait like quite some time for the inks to dry, but I wanted to get this final shot before I forgot. I feel like all of these inks would do well in this Kaweco student pen, but ultimately my favorite of the bunch is going to have to be the Dominant Industry Seaweed. It's got kind of like that faded green that I was looking for, so that's my top pick for now, but I think eventually I'll try all these inks, whether this pen or another pen. So thank you for watching. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye!